everybody, welcome back to the shop. We're gonna start on a new project, and if you're a follower of this channel, you may have noticed a slight trend where I like to make things for my kids. Following that theme, a while ago I decided that I wanted to make some small signal cannons. Now, a signal cannon, a small brass tube drilled out with a hole for a fuse, you pack in some black powder, light the fuse and it makes bang, big smoke cloud, and the kids think it's cool. Fast forward a few weeks and I have a little bit of inside information that a friend of mine, John Saunders from NYC CNC, might be making a cannon that he was gonna display at his open house in May. So I called up John, I said, hey man, I hear you're building a cannon. And he said, yeah, absolutely. I said, would you mind a little friendly cannon competition? And he said, I love competition. So started sourcing some brass to build a cannon out of. And it took me a little while, it took me a couple weeks, and I finally found a little bit of brass. About 105 pounds of brass. This slug of brass is about 4 inches in diameter, a little over 24 inches long, weighs about 105 pounds. And it's a guy thing. I'm gonna build a big cannon. So I struggled with a couple of things. One, I'm truly cannon illiterate. I don't know anything about cannons. Know quite a bit about guns, but not a lot about cannons. So they kind of follow the same concept, so I started doing some research, and there's as many opinions as there is about cannons as there is about political campaigns. The couple of things that seem to follow all the way across no matter who talked about it. Number one, there's a difference between smokeless powder and black powder. We're sticking with black powder, much lower pressure, barrel pressure, burns a lot slower, makes a big puff of white smoke. The smokeless powder, like would be in a modern gun, is a much higher pressure, and I don't want to have to worry about blowing a barrel up on a homemade cannon. The other thing that seemed to be across the board in all the research I did said, be sure to always keep between 7/8 and 1 inch minimum barrel diameter all the way down, and you'll pretty much never have any problem. The next thing is, how big is the bore? What am I gonna shoot out of this thing? I wanted something that was somewhat inexpensive, that I could shoot over and over again if I could recover it. So what I decided I think I wanna shoot is a golf ball. You may not know this, but all the little dimples in a golf ball are actually put in a golf ball to make it fly straight or semi-straight. And so we're not going to rifle the barrel of this. It's just going to be a smooth barrel. So this may actually help the golf ball fly straighter. Of course, we're going to find out. Now, I've had to order some special tooling, and I've had to kind of be creative on thinking on how I'm going to do this on my lathe, because my lathe isn't that big. This is 24 inches, and my lathe bed is only 48 inches because I have a machine lathe. So how do I bore that hole all the way up inside here in the lathe? All right, so we're going to start off with a slug of brass, and we've got the Randy Richard in the Shop scribe. If you haven't gone to Randy Richard in the Shop's channel and ordered one of his carbide scribes, I suggest you do so. He was kind enough to send me one, and they are amazing. So this is basically a center finder, and we're going to find the center of this piece of brass. So that gives us a crossroads. That'll be very close to our center. I have a punch that I've a little bit over sharpened, so I have a very sharp point on it. Now what we're going to do is take an old centering bit out of our lathe, got it chucked in the drill. All right, so as you can see, I've got it in my live center here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this to a diameter to keep it a constant diameter. That diameter will be concentric with this center point. So even if we were out just a little bit here, when we come down here and cut this, we'll true it back up. And then once we get it trued, I'll be able to put the steady rest on here, get this out of the way, work here on the end and start making my bore. It's pretty out of round. So this is pretty cool right here, right? So you can tell that I was off by 20 thousandths at least, because we've done a 20 thousandths depth of cut so far. because you can see that this tapers to our known given fixed point, which we know is concentric. So we know that I was off just a little bit, which is okay. No harm, no foul there. We'll probably take it off here in the next cleanup. All right, well, you can see we've got it down to a concentric size. I had to take about another 26 thousandths off it. We got a nice round concentric size now. What we're gonna do is take this thing, set the steady rest up on it. Once we get the steady rest in place and adjusted where we can just flip it open, and then we're gonna flip it over. We're gonna turn this over because this is perfectly round. But up here where it's gauged in the chuck, it's probably out. So this is gonna be perfectly round. We'll turn it around, we'll center bore it, and then be able to take the steady rest back out and finish this all up and get it a real nice finish. This is kind of coarse because we were just getting it back to round again. All right, so we're back over here at the workbench, and we've got our piece turned true, ends turned square, and we've got center drill in both of them. Now, a couple things, I'm just kind of trying to sort out how I wanted to do this. I needed to buy some tooling, and tooling is extremely expensive. I was very fortunate that on Fleabay or eBay, I was able to find a drill bit that I needed, and this just came the other day. And this is a 1 in 23/32 high-speed steel number 4 Morris taper drill bit. And if you take our golf ball, it measures 670, 676, 675, something like that. And the drill measures right at 720, give or take. So that gives us right about 47 thou. I'm doing my math right here. What that equates to is that we have about 50 thousandths extra room here, which is good because you don't ever want to get a plug in a cannon because all the pressure has to go somewhere. Now, if the ball's a little too loose when we drop it in there, we can always put a piece of wadding, which would be like a little cloth patch or something, slide it in there, take up the gap. Certainly aren't going to do that in the beginning, but towards the end, maybe. So I bought the drill bit, and the trouble with the drill bit is that our bore is going to go about this deep. So this drill bit can drill, it will probably be able to drill for me about that far because the shank on the center rest is bigger than this drill bit is. So I'm not going to be able to get it to go in any further than that. So what I bought was a number 4 Morris taper extension. And this Morris taper extension is, I think, about 12 inches long. Not the most ideal way to drill a hole, but I can't use a smaller bit and then bore it bigger because of the setup on my particular lathe. It's just not big enough. But it's a cannon. It's not like it's a rifle barrel that we're looking for precision. It's more something for fun. So this should work pretty good. I had one of these and I bought the other off eBay. It was an eBay find. And these are going to be what I start my hole with. And I'm not sure whether these are so close in diameter that I don't know if I'm going to step up from one to the next. This is smaller. This is a little bigger. I may just go right here. And I do have the Morris taper adapters. That'll get my hole started and probably get me to about that deep. How deep do we need to drill that hole? Well, that is the math that we need to figure out. So I have a line that's a perpendicular line drawn on the workbench here, and we'll use that. That's the end of this piece of material. I know that on the back of the almost all cannons, pirate cannons and Civil War cannons, they always had some sort of ball on the back. Let's figure that that ball needs to be somewhere about 2 inches in diameter. So 2 inches in diameter will put us about here. Now we know that our wall thickness in the cannon, we didn't want it to get any less than 7/8 to 1 inch. So for good measure, let's add an inch. Right here is the furthest possible point that our drill bit will come back. But what we don't want is the point of this drill bit to go past here, not the cutting edge. So can we drill this hole? Yes, we can. Let me take that super sharp edge off there. Keeps trying to nosedive take a bigger bite than I want it to. I'm gonna take this diamond stone. Makes you cringe, doesn't it? Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed what you saw here today. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and like us on Facebook. Please, somewhere down below here is a link. We've got a lot more really cool stuff coming. Is that right, camera guy? Is there a link down there? Send me a comment. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Click whatever link, click something. See you soon.